Hey, Shalom Alkims, Rakam Kapash from James London, giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bashem Chakwadash. When they give double honors unto the elders, the apostles of GMS, and Shalom out there to the hopeful next pushing his truth and all sincerity. Back in with another video, right? This is from, got this article here from biometricupdate.com. Okay, is a post that bros sent in the chat a little while back. Going into the implantable C-hip, that people for a long time have, been in denial that if this would ever take place, or it wouldn't be, it's not used for anything other than to track and trace things and blah blah blah. But we've been, beginning of our elders and apostles at GMS, we've been telling you, man, this all plays a part of prophecy concerning the MOTB in the book of Revelation chapter 13, right? And that this is going to come to pass, man. And the elites, through these governments and governing bodies and that, right, they're gonna impose this on the people, man, right? And right now they're creating the scenario needed or required for the people to willingly, for the most part, accept this, right? Obviously some people are going to be forced, right? But for the large part of it, these people are going to be put in a desperate situation, man. That's why a whole bunch of things is going on in the world right now, okay, that these these elites are behind, okay. And they're creating the scenario where this is going to become prominent, and it's going to become important for the people, right, in order to access provisions, all right, because that is how they're going to manipulate you. All right, so we've got an article here just to back up all this up, and these prophecies, and what's going on, because that's what we do. We watch, okay, we see how these the elites and these companies are moving, okay, how they're pushing this how they're pushing prophecy, because the Most High is always the one behind pushing the prophecy, right? So the Most High is moving these pieces, even the wicked, right? They're just pawns on the chessboard. How the Most High is moving these pieces in the world, man. That's why we got to pay attention. You can't be ignorant to what's going on out here. You can't be ignorant to Satan's devices, right? So we watch and we see what these guys are doing, man. All right. But anyway, this is entitled "Implanted Digital ID Will Push Digital Payment Revenue Higher." Right, so this is going to be your identification. There's a big, as I said, there's things all going on in the world right now. Everything's about digital IDs, right? Digital payments, CBDCs, right? They're all being spoken about, right? And at the same time, there's problem with food security in the world, right? Job losses, companies going under, farms, and it's all gonna, amount to this desperate situation. Okay, that the majority of people don't think would ever happen to them, right? But the elites are going to collapse this place, right, and reform it. Okay, and so all these things, all these little chess moves that they're doing, they're all part of the snare that they're laying for the people. Okay, the trap that they're laying. Okay, everything that's being orchestrated now is a trap. And people are gonna fall victim to it, man, because they're not aware of the trap. They don't see the trap. They don't see everything that's going on. They're not paying attention. They don't know these prophecies. They don't have knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. So they're gonna get caught in it, right? So evidently, again, these C-hips, these implantable C-hips, right, are going to be used to push digital payments up, right? Because they're doing away with the cash too, doing away with your ATMs, right? Okay, these banks, they're gonna go insolvent soon, man. Today an article, I briefly saw, I didn't read it, but some of these banks, man, or a bank or whatever, man, lost 52 billion of their share prices or whatever it was, man. These banks are about to go insolvent, man, and everybody's hard-earned savings and cash they got in the bank is gonna disappear. They're gonna bail. They're gonna bail in. The bank's gonna bail in, right? There's gonna be a bail in, and you ain't gonna have access to your money, right? And that's why there's going to be a need for a new system. And that's where these CBDCs come in place. That's where your universal basic income comes in, all of that. It's where the rationing comes in, because there's been talk about rationing recently with food and products, right? Because they're getting harder to get hold of, man, and they're getting more expensive. Okay, this is all part of prophecy, right? So we can't be ignorant to these things, man. And they're all separate components that all lead to one thing. Okay, and that's why you have to watch on multiple fronts. All right, all these things in the world are not separate from each other, really. All right. But anyway, let's get on with this article, and we'll grab some scriptures afterwards, right? It says an analyst firm this week predicted global digital payment revenue of 204.1 billion by 2028. The same day, a digital payments infrastructure firm claimed it had sold its 500th implant payment CHIP. Right, so they're being sold, they're being implanted right now as we speak, man. We've been covering this for a long time. Okay, especially in them Scandinavian countries like Sweden and them places, right? They, you know, they got they love that shit, right? And so that's something that that they're pushing, because their societies are almost basically cashless, already. But that'd be a thing that spreads across the rest of the world, right? Right. It says the two items may not precisely intersect today, but that is changing. Right. Perhaps the only place that mobile contactless payments can go after smartwatches is electronics embedded in consumer skins. Right. So these things are in the minds of these companies. They're in the minds of these governments. Okay, because it's in the mind of the elites, right? Um, Brothers keep mentioning, someone from Nokia, right, the mobile company, maybe CEO or something like that, was talking about all this stuff being embedded in us, man, in our heads and all that kind of stuff, right? At our phones and stuff like and that's what they're talking about. Getting digital, electronics inside your body, right? Elon Musk's Neuralink, right? Actually got another article here, or it was a tweet. I don't know if it's quite an old one now. It's a few weeks old. When was this? 18th of February. So yeah, a few weeks old, man. But just this quick tweet: a brain implant startup backed by Bezos and Gates is testing mind-controlled computing on humans. So they're all going into this, man. They're all getting involved and putting money on the table for these things, and yeah, it's not going away. Okay, it's not going away at all. All right. So back here it says they can make that jump / dive. So they can make that jump. Okay, only because digital payments continue to gain acceptance. Right, it's coming more, uh, you know, acceptable in the minds of the people, man. And this is just how we're moving. This is productive, progress or whatever, right? So digital payments, meanwhile, logically must become more intimate. Logically, to them, this is just a logical thing to do, just to put things in people. That's a logical thing to do for them. We can't just stop. Can't just stop where we are right now and just carry on with that. That's not logical. The logical step is to implant people with things. Right? Okay. Um, Digital payments, meanwhile, logically must become more intimate, convenient, secure, and exclusive. The BBC published the article about implanting digital payment chips. The piece centers on a Dutch security guard who had one of the chips placed under the skin on his left hand. Reportedly, the augmentation means he pulls out his debit card or phone less often, right? Okay, which is the idea. You don't have to carry your wallet, you don't have to carry your keys, you don't have to carry your ID, you don't have to worry about losing any of that stuff, right? Because it's you in it, all right? That guy's a mad one. Let's see what else here. So executives from two implant makers exude confidence about their futures because they're getting invested in, and people are, you know, what I mean, people are showing interest and they're getting invested in, man, right? Wojciech Praprota, CEO of Walletmore, says his firm has made more than 500 capsule jammed with a C-hip and a near-field communication radio antenna, okay, the NFCs, okay, which I believe is what's used in these phones and stuff, right? Near-field communication. So although not mentioned in the article, disruptive subdermals in Sweden has seen its chips embedded in several thousand people. Okay, them Swedes, man, right? If they are lucky, the two executives will get caught in the growth slipstream of the overall digital payments market. The idea, so that's digital payment. We know where it's going, man. We know that's the future. We know that's what they're gonna implement. We know this, right? So yeah, they're gonna merge these things even closer, right? The idea is gaining traction according to surveys on digital payments. Vantage Market Research predicts that the revenue in the sector will grow to 204 billion by 2028, a 6-year compound annual growth of 15%. That expansion will be made possible in part by biometric authentication, right? The ID, right? A feature of most contactless mobile payment services, right? So, to Dan, this is all logical. This is just where things are going, right? And so we've been talking about this, speaking about elders and apostles, way before this was logical, before these men started talking like this, right? But they're really trying to push it out there now. Okay, it's really something that's going to come into normal society, like everywhere, real soon. Okay, we keep telling you about the MOTB. Okay, it's coming, right? And I say it's already being trialed and tested in other places already. Okay, all it needs is to be uploaded with the appropriate program and all this kind of stuff, and we're all good to go. You know what I'm saying? We're all good to go. You know, and you're gonna find yourself in slavery. So this is the snare. These are the snares, man, because that's where you owe me going, man, into slavery under Esau. Okay, with maximum restrictions. All right. So this is Psalms 64 verse 2. It says, "Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked." Right, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, as Job, is it 9:24 says, right? And that's these Edomites, these so-called white people. They're the ones ruling the earth right now. These elites, right? They're the ones pushing all these agendas. Okay, financing all these companies and tech startup companies and all this business. We're doing all this research and that. It's them. They're behind it all. Okay, they're supplying the money for it to be done. Right. So that's the secret council of the wicked. They they have their meetings. That we're not really privy to. Right. And people, well, because they run media companies too, you're made to think that when they come out in the interviews after the private meetings, right, when they talk, they still send signals, they still say things that, but if you don't know what they're talking about, you don't understand what it is that they're talking about. You don't really know what it is that they're saying. But they come out and make it seem like they're here on some humanitarian mission to help to save the earth and help everybody. But that is not really the agenda. Right, knowing who with that we're knowing through the scriptures who we're dealing with, we know the wicked plots and devices and snares that they planning in those private meetings, and where it leads to. Right, you might call that conspiracy theories and speculation and whatever you want to call that, but the prophecies in the scriptures are not wrong. We know what the wicked are doing. Okay, we're reading it now. Right, you're reading about the secret counsel of the wicked. These guys, these are the wicked. They're holding secret councils, and guess what? They want to hip the world. That's truth, right? So you call it what you want, but evidently this is what's happening because the evidence is rolling out slowly. It might not be in the time when we first started speaking about it, or when the elders first started speaking about it. The information wasn't there, coming out in the open. But now it's coming out thick and fast, man, and it seems to be all that they're talking about now. These developments, these advancements, right? And that's why Habakkuk says what it says, right? Let's get Habakkuk quickly come back in a second, right? It's Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak. Right. So it might not speak right there and then when we first say something, but surely it will. Surely it will come to pass. Surely we'll start hearing about these things more and more. And that's what's happening. That's why a lot of these other camps are having to backtrack on certain things. They're having to make up more wacky doctrines to try and deceive their congregations, right? Because things are more in the face now. It's harder to deny it, right? Nate won't make another video again, ever again. Talking about maybe your dog can go get some lamb. He will never, because he'll look even more stupid than he did the first time he said it, because it was just ridiculous, right? So it's like it's getting harder to confront, because all the information is coming out now. All right. But back in Psalm 64 verse 2 it says, hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who whet their tongue like a sword and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words. You will own nothing. Okay, you're gonna eat bugs. You can't. We're gonna make. See, they'll flip it, right? So they'll make these 15-minute cities saying it's for your benefit because everything's gonna be around you in 15 minutes. You don't need to go nowhere. But no, you're just being locked in, so you can't go nowhere, or you have to pay to go into certain sections. It's that dystopian future we all know about when we watch these movies, man. We know what these people do with their power, and they make it sound nice to start off with, but then something happens, and then they got a reason, an excuse to restrict your movements and all this stuff, right? We know how it works, right? So yeah, all these bitter words, you know, that basically it's all oppression. Okay, that they're disguising up, right? It says that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly do they shoot him and fear not, right? Because the main people they want to see down and out and destroyed is the Israelites, because we're like arch nemesis, you know what I mean? Arch enemies, right? So Esau really wants us to, really be destroyed from all of this, right? It says, they encourage themselves in an evil matter, right? So all this, implants and all this kind of business, right, is an evil matter. Okay, an evil plan that they're trying to do to subdue the people, to subject the people into a new system where they have total control over the people, right? As it says, we'll grab it now, right? Revelations 13 and 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed, right? So the system that they've created right now, right? You better be in line with it. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself having a whole bunch of problems. Okay, if you're not down with the green agenda and all these other things, right? You ain't down with the governments and everything that they push, everything that they believe in, all this wacky, wicked, alphabet stuff and all of this, right? Bestiality, pedophilia and all this stuff. This whole system is that image of the beast, right? What Esau promotes, how he wants to rule. If you don't like it, well, you're gonna fall out. Essentially, that's gonna be, right. Verse 16, he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or their foreheads. Okay, that's what we were just reading about. People taking things in their hands and in their foreheads and all kinds of things, right? And that no man might buy or sell, right? So it says no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark. So unless you got this thing, you ain't buying or selling nothing, man. So you're gonna be kind of like shut out of the system. That means you can't purchase nothing. You can't do anything. So that's the trap right there that he's pushing on the people. All right. So that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the number of the beast, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. right? So that's going to be a requirement. That's not going to be an optional thing, right? So they're going to deceive and convince many to get this done, right? So yeah, back here, verse 5, Psalm 64, verse 5 says, they encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares privily. They say, who shall see them? Like, most people are blind to what's going on, right? And when shit hits the fan, man, all people are going to be, concerned about is where they're going to get the next meal from, right? But if you can't buy anything because it's been, commandeered by the government to distribute it, to the people. If you can't buy nothing unless you have these implants or whatever, because that's the system now, because the old system's failed, it's collapsed, and everybody's money's gone or worth nothing. Then how you gonna buy things? There's no choice. There is no choice. You're gonna have to sign up. You're gonna have to have your hip implanted, right? And you're gonna have to stand in line. Right? That's what you're gonna have to do, man. And you're gonna be giving your digital currencies, right? Because that's the big thing. These CBDCs, that's programmable money. So you can only spend it on what you've been told to spend it on. And there's your control right there. There's your control right there. Because people are not gonna not want to do that. The majority of people, because they're gonna want to feed themselves and their families. So there's no real choice. Okay, you're being forced one way or another, right? This is verse 6. It says, they search out iniquities, they accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. Right? And they've been plotting and planning and scheming for years to accomplish what they're about to accomplish. Okay, all these traps, all these agendas that they've been, planning and putting their money into, all this research, and right, it's all coming together now, and it's coming together at a rapid pace right now. There's a whole bunch of stuff happening simultaneously, okay, fast, right? Because something is about to happen, right? Something is about to happen. This is Revelation 12, verse 12. So therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time. Okay, and that's the real reason why everything's happening fast, because Esau's been put on a time scale. The Most High is hurrying things up, right? Because everybody runs to the time of the Heavenly Father, right? Esau's been given a certain amount of time to rule, and the countdown started, for his last days. So the Most High is making these devils move faster with their plans. All right, so it's all going down soon, man. All right, and we can't wait. This is Micah chapter 2, verse 1. It says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it's in the power of their hands. So again, it's these devils that are in power, these Edomites, right? So that's what they're doing. And I said they're working at breakneck speed, right? They're working fast to get this done. All right. I'm going to forgo those scriptures, actually. I'm going to close it up with this. All right. It's Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 12. It says, for man also knoweth not his time, as fishes that are taken in an evil net, and as the birds that are caught in the snare. So are the sons of men snared in an evil time, when it falleth suddenly upon them. And like I said, things are happening quickly, and you don't really understand what's going on out here, man. You're blind to the fact. That's why they're confident, like they said, who shall see them? Well, the elect see them. The elect, we see you, right? We see you, we understand, because the Most High gave us the knowledge, man. Gave us eyes and ears, man. Spiritual ones, right? To see what the hell you're doing. To see through your bullshit. right? But the rest of this world is being made blind, you know, for the most part, right? So they're going to get caught in this trap, in these snares that they're coming into this evil time that we're running into, man. You know, you think your actions in that time will be to save your life and the life of your children, man. But that the opposite is true, because anybody that takes that mark is going to be destroyed. All right. This is Revelations 14 and 9 said, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. Right, that's going to be your judgment, man. So you're thinking that you're making decisions, taking actions to help yourself, right? Because you need to eat and stuff, right? You think that's just the logical thing to do, right? Well, the Most High is not testing your logic. Most ain't out here testing logic, right? He out here testing faith, right? And everybody that picks logic over faith is going to be destroyed. Okay, facts. Right, one way or another. Okay, they're going to be destroyed. All right. We'll grab one more. Daniel. All right, it's Daniel chapter 12, verse 1 says, and at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, thy people who is Israel, okay, and notably the elect, because again, the Lord is not testing people's logic, right? The Lord is testing people's faith and really ultimately testing the elect's faith, right? So that they can be delivered. That's why it says, thy people shall be delivered. Everyone that shall be found written in the book. Okay, the elect are written in the book of life, right? So their faith is being tested. Faith is being tested on the earth in general, and we're going to see what people believe and who we're going to, who they're going to stand with, man. But only the elect can stand with the Heavenly Father, because only they are the ones that got the truth, right? And that's why, people are going to use their logic to survive. Okay, when what you don't understand is that the Most High is the one that's created this whole situation, and he's the only one that can protect you from it, right? Not Esau. All right. But like I said, Esau's moving fast, man, and we're gonna see these things real soon, man. Here, in the UK and in the US and everywhere, right? We're gonna see this real soon, man, being pushed out. Just a matter of time. All right, so with that, this has been edifying, and I'll catch you brothers and sisters on the next video, man. So next time I say shalom.